Yesterday I gave a talk. I'm actually in Lisbon, Portugal, and I gave a talk to a bunch of digital nomads and online entrepreneurs about how to publish a book that grows your business. So personally, I've started publishing fiction because fiction readers read faster and they consume more books. So it's easier to make a full-time income writing fiction, which is what I'm doing now. But I also use a lot of nonfiction books to build my business and to bring in new clients. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that process and why it's probably easier than you think. I think the first book that you publish, usually you have these big ideas and you want it to be perfect. You want it like this. You want it to be the brand mission statement that's about everything. And that's probably a mistake for a few reasons. The first one, if you don't have a platform already, it's difficult to sell that kind of book. Because it's not very focused, it's not keyword specific. It might be like about a huge topic, like how to make money online or something. And there's so many books like that already by big experts who have a huge following. It can be difficult to stand out. So it's good to have something like that if you already have a platform, or it's good to think about what kind of book you might want to publish in the future that's going to be like your mission statement. But it's difficult to sell that one if you don't have a platform. And it's also difficult to finish that one because the more conceptual, the more high-level ideas that you have, the more that you care about this book being perfect, if it's like your life's workbook, that's the one that's going to take a long time to finish. And you may fiddle around with it for 10 years and never actually get anything done. And so what I recommend doing is picking something much smaller that's very specific. And there's a process for doing that. So first, maybe you already have an online business, or maybe you're thinking about starting one. You need to think about, what do you have to sell? What do you have that you want people to pay you for? What's your offer? This could be a service, this could be a product, a digital product, it could be coaching or consulting, but you have to have an idea of what you've got to sell and what audience, like who your ideal client is, who do you want to buy the stuff that you're selling. And then you have to figure out what they want. What are some pain points that they have right now that they are searching for? And then you need to figure out, the easy way to do this is to start blogging or to put out videos or some kind of content. But you could also build a list of the right audience and then ask them questions to give you feedback to find out what their pain points are. And then rather than trying to solve a big problem, like how to lose weight or something, you'd focus on one very specific micro topic that could almost be a blog post. So you don't have to think of a book as like, generally a nonfiction book will be at least 50,000 words, but when you're self-publishing, you can publish a book that's 10,000 words. I would shoot for 20,000 because for a 10,000 word book, even if you charge 99 cents, it's fine to have a 10,000 word book. I know people who make lots of money with 10,000 word books, and you don't want it to be fluff or hype. Like, you don't want to just fill up the word count with garbage. But I think you can write a 10,000 word book and then build it up a little with case studies or quotes or actionable content or tips to bulk it out a little bit to 15 or 20,000. You basically want them to be satisfied with the book. You don't want them to stop reading because it got boring, but you want it to resonate in a way that they think it's high value. So if it's, and I've learned this myself, if it's just how-to, if it's just tips and tricks and content, it doesn't feel high value. So even if they learn a lot from it, they may not associate you as a high value provider. So the way to write a book that resonates with people with high value is to focus more on stories. So you need a lot of how-to practical tips, but you also need stories. So what I found with doing nonfiction stuff is that people, even if you give them really useful, actionable content, they won't appreciate it as much as high quality stories that resonate with them. And if they get those stories, even if they don't get the high value actionable content, they'll still think it's a more valuable book and they'll be more satisfied with it. So I like to have a mix of value and story. And the easy way to get this done is to focus on the small topic, outline it. This could be like a 7-step process to X, like break down the thing that you want to teach, not a huge topic, but like one of the smaller subtopics that your audience is hungry for. Pitch it in an interesting way, use like a clickbaity title. You can research like with a title generator to find, basically it would be like a really good blog post that's going to get a lot of clicks, a lot of shares. That can be your title for the nonfiction book, or it can be the subtitle. I think generally a title is 1 or 2 words that's specific, and a subtitle is like a long tail keywords and benefits. You're really cramming in, who is this for, what are they going to get, and focus on the bigger high value benefits rather than the specific small value. So not like how to start a blog, but how to start a blog that gets a lot of traffic. If you can make specific stuff like how to get 10,000 new subscribers to your blog in under a month and have it earn $10,000 a month or something like that. Specific numbers, specific benefits are better. Then outline that process, break it down into like how you would teach it to people. And that's your content. You can spend, if you write an hour to a day, you can get 1,000 words a day. So within a few weeks, you could finish a 10,000 word book. And then I think what's really important is to find other influencers in your space who already have an audience and see if you can ask them. I like to do a Google form, so I'll put up a Google Forms and I'll reach out to people and I'll say, I'm writing a book about this. This is the cover. You want it to look really professional already because you want them on board. It's easier to get them on board if you have a nice looking product, if they can see something visual rather than just the idea. But you want them to be able to either reply to the email really quickly. So you want them to take action and not just ignore your email. So you can set up a Google form, or you can just say, could you reply to this email and in less than a paragraph answer one of these 3 questions. You want to make it really easy for them. Hopefully they'll do that. If you ask 100 people, you might get 25 to 50 who are willing to respond. And the benefit for them is that they get featured in your book. So that's free marketing and advertising for them. The benefit for you, not only do you have better content and more content that you can bulk your book out, but also those people, those influencers will be likely to share your book on launch. So if you have 25 great quotes from industry leaders in your book, that not only makes you have a better product, but those industry leaders are likely to share your book when you launch. Not so much if it's a paid launch of like 99 cents or $2.99, but it's very easy for them to share if it's free. So if you email them and say, I'm making it totally free this week, could you share it with your audience? They probably will. I like to launch books with a free campaign. That is an easy way for me to get a lot of downloads and a lot of reviews without begging. And like, it's hard to get reviews anyway, but if you get 10,000 downloads for a book, you'll likely get 20 to 50 reviews hopefully in the first week or so, definitely in the first couple months, which will make it easy for you to keep selling the book long term. That's why I like free campaigns. Also, generally Amazon weights free downloads about 10 to 1 for a paid download. So getting 10,000 downloads is kind of like getting 1,000 sales. Not necessarily, not always that much, but it does affect paid rank a little for a while. So it's possible to get a lot of free downloads, get a bunch of book reviews, and keep it selling if your conversion is pretty high long term. And then ideally, you would have that book, maybe it took you a month to write, it's a very specific subtopic, you would be attracting the right audience. And you also, something else about audience, you need to be thinking about where your audience is at the beginning, because the funnel is always like this. And when people are starting out, they have different questions than the high value, like once they're pretty established, they may not need your help. They may not need your services or your coaching. So you want to get them pretty early in the funnel when they're just looking for the basic answer. So for example, in my case, I put out a lot of stuff about book design and book marketing, but my audience is actually looking for how to write a book, how to outline a book, how to plot a book, how to do story architecture and characterization and scene description. They're still in the learning how to write phase as opposed to the book marketing and the book design phase. So I really need to catch more of my audience at a more initial stage in their journey by putting out content that's what they're looking for. And then don't worry so much about making this one book your entire funnel. Now that you've learned how to write a book and it's a very small subtopic, it took you a month to write 5 more books that are very similar. And then you have this broad funnel of books that are pulling in leads or your target audience. Basically, they're looking for things, they find your book, whether it's free or paid. At the end of your book, you'll have an opt-in offer to get them on your email list, which will be, sign up for bonus content. You could also do it like every chapter. You could have sign up for this bonus extra checklist or information or spreadsheet or any valuable content that you have to offer to get them on your list. once you've done that, you can put them in an email funnel and start selling your services or your courses. Generally, you'll have, your tripwire, your initial free, not free, you'll have your free offer that leads to your tripwire, which is a low cost offer to kind of see if they're willing to buy something, probably something that's like an impulse buy that's generally cheap, under $20, people say. And then you would have an upsell of a higher value course or something. I like to have cheap books and a tripwire of under $50, and then courses around $300 or $400, and then a full marketing coaching package that costs several $1,000s. So I like to have kind of a spread. So most of that stuff is all automatic. I'm not really doing a lot of services, but if people want to actually pay me to hire me for them, I charge a lot. But partly I'm able to sustain my higher prices because I have this funnel of free and low-cost content that people can consume and know that I know what I'm talking about. They can get to know me. I'm giving them a lot of value for a very low cost. So I'm always kind of over-delivering. And then if they need me to take my time to do things for them and to solve their problems personally, then I charge a lot for that. So that's kind of the funnel that I recommend. I think no matter what kind of service or business that you're trying to build, Amazon books are great because if you want to outrank all of your competition on Google with a book on Amazon, like even for a long tail keyword, if you have a new blog, it's very difficult to rank on Google without a ton of backlinks. But if you have a book on Amazon and you're the only book on Amazon for that long tail keyword, it's going to show up in the first page of Google. And also, I'll mention Goodreads is a book review website that has a lot of, it's basically a site where book reviewers can post content, but it ranks really well in Google. So if you can set up a list for like best nonfiction books about XYZ or whatever, and you can get your book on that list, that Goodreads list is going to show up really well in Google search results. So if you can customize that so that you, and this is something I do a lot with my content. I have like the best mermaid books, and I have articles on my blogs like the 13 best young adult mermaid fantasy books you need to read right now that rank in the first page of Google, because not a lot of authors focus on those kinds of content. But if you're writing a business book or a book about any topic, and the other thing that's really important is you don't want to consider yourself as a competitor to everything else that's out there. You want to see yourself as a community. So if I'm putting out a new book, for example, about book marketing, I don't want to just promote my book marketing book. I'll find the 10 or 15 best book marketing books, and I'll make a big piece of content that's like, here are the best books on book marketing, and I'll link to and review all of those other books and then put mine in that list as well, because that piece of content is something I can share with those other authors who have written book marketing books. They will be able to build a relationship with me because I'm featuring and promoting their books to my audience. They will probably share my piece of content that features their books as one of the best book marketing books on my piece of content. They'll share my website, my article with their audience. So I'm getting a lot of links back to that piece of content, which will rank on the first page of Google. So whenever anybody searches for best book marketing books, they'll find my article that lists all of these best books. And at the bottom of the article, I'll probably say, here's my book, sign up to get a free copy, or sign up to get, a free summary of my top 10 book marketing tips, or whatever. You'd have a content upgrade at the bottom of your article like that would build your list. So that's kind of a side step to direct sales on Amazon, but it's kind of the same thing. Once you've been building, rather than just putting out a lot of blog posts, and I also want to point out, this isn't a very difficult thing. You could write, and I recommend you outline your nonfiction book project in a series of blog posts, and you publish them all as independent blog posts, so that each specific section or chapter gets its own long tail keyword blog post, and then that becomes a bunch of valuable content. It's okay if it's free content on your blog. You can even put it all out on your website, and at the end of each of those articles, they can either sign up to get a content upgrade or just go buy the book right now. So you can say like, read the full thing online, or save time and buy the book right now on Amazon. You want some specific content that's only available in the book, but it's fine to put out as much as like half of the book as free content on your website. Most people aren't going to take the time to go through and read all of those posts on your blog. Most people will just read the first one and then click the link to buy the book because it's more convenient to buy the book on Kindle or wherever they're used to reading. So my main takeaway point is that you should be writing books that build your business sooner rather than later, and they're great for building traffic and for building a content, an audience that's hungry for the services or the products that you provide, and that it's a lot easier than you think it is. So just, pick a topic, outline the process to teach that topic, break it down into a bunch of blog posts. That should be about 10,000 words. Get some input from other leaders in the field to bulk it out and also to give them an incentive to share your book when it launches. And that can take you less than a month. Get a cover. You can get, for a nonfiction book, you can get a decent nonfiction book cover on Fiverr.com for $50, or you can spend a couple $100 on 99 designs and get a really high quality nonfiction book cover. But that's something I would do not later when you have a big platform. If you already have a really large platform and a big email list, then you may want to consider whether you want to traditionally publish, which can give you more visibility and a little bit more credibility, but you'll be making less in actual book sales, or self-publish and do everything really well. You can have about the same quality of book if you get professional book design and book formatting. It's a reasonable cost, and you keep 70% of your profits rather than 10% of your profits traditionally published. That's something you want to consider. Personally, I'm a big fan of self-publishing, but there are certain circumstances. If it's a bigger, like the brand book, the book that is your life's work, that defines a conceptual idea that is the basis for your platform, that's something I might want to consider traditionally publishing later, even though it would earn me less money because it would be better for credibility and for platform building. But in the beginning, especially if you're trying to build a business or build traffic or you're trying to get new leads or customers, a book can be a great way to do that. So I hope this video helps in that regard. And you can subscribe. I talk a lot about book publishing, but also I'm going to start talking more specifically about building an online business and making money online so you can do what you love and travel and lead a dream style life. But I kind of talk about a lot of things more regarding creative production, so how to do creative work that you can get paid for. So you can subscribe to my channel or follow me on creativity.com, which is my main site. Thanks, bye-bye.